Hey everyone, Sprawlsy here. I recently saw Xmen Dark Phoenix. Xmen Dark Phoenix was originally in the cinema a long time ago. I never saw it because I saw the reviews that said it was a bit poor and wasn't worth watching. It is now on Blu-ray and DVD, and it was recently on at my local cinema in this hotel on the P&O cruise ship Britannia. So I thought I'd go and watch it, and this is what I thought of it. So for summary of the story, which lots of people have now seen, is the X-Men character Jean Grey goes into space with the other X-Men, and Jean Grey absorbs the Phoenix Force whilst saving some astronauts. The Phoenix Force basically being a powerful cosmic force. And in summary gives Jean Grey a bit of godlike powers, and on the return to Earth Jean Grey basically can't control these powers very well and causes a bit of destruction and problems. And some aliens come to Earth. They disguise themselves as humans to try and get their Phoenix Force for themselves so they can rebuild their planet, as many long time ago the Phoenix Force destroyed their planet, so they want to catch it to create a new planet for themselves. I did read the original comic storyline for Phoenix Force back in the X-Men comics from the 60s, 70s or 80s, wherever that comic originated from. The comic storyline is enjoyable. Jean Grey, when she absorbs the Phoenix Force, basically becomes a bit of a villain, causes lots of death and destruction, goes into space, destroys an entire civilization of aliens in space, and ultimately sacrifices herself to save the rest of the X-Men from some other aliens. So the comic storyline is quite epic in scope. The X-Men go into space, onto the moon, onto a spaceship, you see aliens, destruction of a whole alien race. You can see the comic was pretty epic in scale. Sadly, the movie does not live up to that. Whilst I would have never expected the movie to do an adaptation, but more of to use it as inspiration, the movie itself deserved to be more epic in scale, and it was too low-key for what it was doing. So Jean Grey becomes a bit of a god power, and what does she do? Just roughs up a few houses, knocks around the other X-Men a bit, and the fight with the aliens, it was all low-key. I would have preferred to see the X-Men go into space. They went into space at the beginning of the movie to save the X-Men. Repeat that. At the beginning of the movie, the X-Men go into space to save astronauts. I'd have liked to have seen more of space. X-Men and the whole Marvel comics, there's loads of stories of these characters going into space and mingling with aliens. A bit nice to have seen that in the movie. And also to see Jean Grey use more of the Phoenix Force, because in the comics she's a god. She blows up a whole star in the comics, but here in the movie she doesn't do anything near that. See a lot of swirling patterns in the air. Jean Grey flies around a bit, moves objects with her mind, roughs up the X-Men, knocks down a couple of houses. They could have shown more. The movie runtime was less than 2 hours, and whilst the movie is an enjoyable ride, it's a ride where you get to the end and you feel like there should have been more to it. So much more. It'd been nice to have seen, really would have been nice to have seen the X-Men go into space, maybe interact with aliens on a spaceship, because the aliens actually come to Earth on a spaceship. Kind of say that in the dialogue, and you see a spaceship in a background shot. It would have been nice for part of the movie to maybe have taken place on that spaceship. Maybe the final fight to be on there, and there's just on a train. And the movie itself could have done with being longer, maybe to explore a bit more of what powers Jean Grey has with the Phoenix Force and what the Phoenix Force actually is. Because whilst you get some answers during the movie, they're very brief, very quick. It feels like everything was rushed over. It could have done with a bit more depth. The other X-Men characters, some of them really appear briefly and more as background characters. Like Cyclops in Storm don't really do much. Magneto is there for a little bit of time. Mystique is there for a little bit of time. And one of the main characters dies quite early in the movie. Their death was emotionless. It's like, my character's died. There's no real emotion off the back of it. Could have done with more of an emotional kick for that death. And also at deaths that come later on, there's lack of emotion. And recently had Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, massive epic movies, grand in scope. Dark Phoenix was an epic comic storyline. The movie did not capitalise on that, could have done so much more. So that is my very brief summary review of the Xmen Dark Phoenix movie. It's an enjoyable ride for what it is, but it could have been so much more, is in a nutshell how to sum it. Could have had more action, more characterization, more emotion, more epicness. So that's what that particular storyline deserved, I believe. Some storylines are great to have small, low-key, small number of characters. Dark Phoenix, in my opinion, was the opposite. Should have paid a bit more attention to the other Marvel movies, the Avenger movies, to make that one a bit more epic in scope. And sadly, that Dark Phoenix will be the last of the present X-Men running movies, as I do know that Disney, Marvel Studios have the rights now to produce future movies, barring the New Mutants. But in terms of the main core characters of X-Men, we will no longer see this version of the X-Men. Whether that's a good thing or not, only time will tell. I look forward to seeing the future, but it's a shame that Dark Phoenix really ended that run on a bit of a damp sponge. Could have been so much better. Hope you've enjoyed my review. Hope you've enjoyed the movie as well. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you on a new video soon. Bye!